Sonic 3 is about to release, and with LEGO tapping into the Sonic market last year, I finally thought it was time to have a look at one of their sets. I wanted to get the best one, but which one actually deserves that title? The Sonic Green Hill Zone Loop Challenge, the Super Sonic vs. Egg Drill Star, or the Sonic vs. Dr. Eggman's Death Egg Robot? This is the one I chose, and today I will tell you whether this is the best Sonic set so far. LEGO launched a Sonic theme last year, and I was split on it. Video game themes have been very hit or miss, but the figures look promising and there were no sets at crazy prices. After nearly 2 years, I think this theme has evolved wonderfully. But the Sonic vs. Dr. Eggman's Death Egg Robot is actually one of the earlier sets. It was released as part of the original 5-set wave back in 2023. There was in fact a Sonic set even before that in 2022 under the Ideas banner. That set paved the way for LEGO Sonic as we know it nowadays, even though the Eggman figure from that set has aged horribly. Fitting into the larger scheme of Sonic sets, this one is also quite affordable. At a retail price of $60 US, this would be a mid-range Star Wars set at best, but when it comes to LEGO Sonic, this is actually the 4th most expensive set. Crazy, isn't it? If you want to see a review of the cheapest Sonic set out there, by the way, check out my latest short on this channel. When it comes to piece count though, this set even moves up a spot to 3rd place, featuring 615 pieces, which is more than decent considering its $60 retail price. As part of those 615 pieces, you also get 2, technically 3 minifigs, and 3 of these little animal companions. Since I already raved about the figures, let's also just start with them. Now there's this whole selection here, but really the most interesting figures are of course Sonic and Dr. Eggman. I think we have to start with our main man himself, Olgaval Maurice Wentworth Hedgehog, and yes, that is his actual full name. So there's a lot of good, but also a lot of mediocrity present with this figure. Let's start with the bad things and finish off with all the nice bits. This figure's biggest issue are absolutely the printed colors. The main areas I'm speaking about here are his shoes, his chest and his eyes. His eyes are the least annoying of these examples, but nonetheless, they are clearly dimmed by the light nougat base they're printed on. It's a little worse with the chest, since the light nougat here doesn't match either his arms nor his head. The blue base totally distorts it, but it's even worse with the shoes. The white here doesn't just have this red tint, it's also extremely wonky. As you can see, it's not printed straight, and on one side it doesn't even link up with the side leg printing. Honestly, the quality in the printing section here is just piss poor. Now on the other hand, it is a plus that there is such a thing as leg printing. Even if it's not well done, they can hopefully improve on it, because in my opinion it's an important inclusion. And it can work, as you can see with this strap here, so LEGO's really just gotta fix those previously mentioned issues. Another upside is the dual molding. We don't just have dual molded legs, we've also got a dual molded headpiece. The head mold is absolutely fantastic, and this whole theme would simply not work without these pieces. The spikes on the back are great, and the signature nose also wasn't disregarded, which I'm very happy about. But you can't speak of great molds and not look at Dr. Eggman. This is probably the first figure I've seen in a while where someone could go, that isn't LEGO, and I'd completely understand. That is an up as well as a downside. For one, it is a huge step up from 2022's Ideas Dr. Eggman. With this incredible new mold, LEGO was able to really nail down his look. His character design is very peculiar, so just sending it and creating an entirely new upper body and head mold makes sense to an extent. It's even dual molded, and to create the look of a big body on kinda skinny legs, they also gave him the elongated avatar legs. Now, as much as I've complimented the mold, it also does take away a bit of its Lego-ness. Really, the only thing that makes this recognizable as a piece of Lego are the arms. Other than that, this could also be a totally separate toy brand. A fix for this would have been the inclusion of a proper Lego head, for example, but for now, this is what we have, and it's by no means horrible. Then there's Cubot, and I don't claim to know a lot or pretty much anything about Sonic, so I have no idea who or what this is. It's a fun looking design most definitely, utilizing the roller skate pieces for the eyes is also really cool, and I guess it matches his in-universe counterparts somewhat. And then there's this handful of animal friends. Again, I don't really know what's up with these, but they remind me of older LEGO Friends pieces, and I feel like the birds mold could be used really well for smaller Tweety at some point. Oh, and by the way, these guys are called Pocky, Tocky and Flicky. Weird names, I know. So the figures are overall quite good. You can tell a lot of work has gone into them, but quality control should just be a bigger priority with a figure like Sonic. More minifigs would obviously have been nice at a price point of $60, but let's have a look at the build now to see how that fares in comparison to others. The build here consists of Dr. Eggman's Death Egg Robot, a speedsphere with slammer, a little lab section, as well as his ramp and spikes. Sonic sets in general come with a lot of extras, which can be great, especially for kids playing with the sets, but it can also cause issues by subtracting pieces from the main build. The main build here is obviously Dr. Eggman's Death Egg Robot, and actually, it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. In height it only measures 16 centimeters, the width comes out to almost the exact same at 15 centimeters, and the mech's got a depth of about 15 centimeters as well. Unlike a lot of other modern mechs though, it really fills out its space. Most modern robots and mech armors are also built in a leaner style. The ones that immediately come to mind are the Star Wars and Marvel mechs or the big Ninjago and Monkey Kid ones. This one though is really compact with its chunky body and extremely short legs. The only somewhat similar current one that comes to mind is Cole's Elemental Earth mech, and even that one isn't as chunky as this one. Hats off to the designers though, since the legs, even if there wasn't a whole lot to work with, look really good to be honest. The design is very sleek and they actually look like they could carry the weight of the torso and the arms. But my biggest issue with this set are also the legs. They look really sturdy, but in reality all it takes is pushing the torso slightly too far backwards and the whole mech topples over. Here, sturdiness was sacrificed in favor of mobility. You can move the legs around all you want, it's incredibly easy. The feet are connected to the thighs, I guess, via ball joints, which are good, but the connection of the legs to the torso is really flimsy. It takes nearly no effort to move the torso back and forth, which is good when we're talking about mobility, but sucks otherwise because it takes nearly no effort to push it all over. Getting back to the positives though, the torso design again is so sleek. They managed to create these rounded edges very well, and there really is nothing I can complain about here. On the back you've even got a jetpack, which is funny, and there is actually a play feature integrated here as well, but I'll show you that once we finish this part of the build. The arms are, similarly to the legs, very mobile, which is good in this case because they don't need to carry any weight really. On one arm you've got these 3 spikes or whatever they're supposed to be, and the other one has a rotating gun. Sadly you just have to turn the gun itself, since LEGO didn't actually include a feature where you just turn a pin or anything like that. Something like that would have been nice, but it ain't the end of the world. The head of the mech is probably the highlight. You've got the signature Eggman beard, nose and glasses with a glass dome right behind it, which opens relatively easily. In there you've got more than enough space for Eggman to fit in, even if you have to raise his arms a bit for him to sit in properly. You can decide whether to leave the cockpit open or close it, but if you choose the latter, the dome will easily go all the way down without creating any gaps. Now, earlier I already mentioned a play feature linked to the torso. When you press on the exuding belly of the mech, the jetpack and pretty much the entire back pops out. As you can see, there's 2 jumper plates on this part, usually hidden within the mech. On these you can place some of the animal friends to act like Eggman will steal them. To free these animals though, you're not just supposed to press on the torso, you're supposed to use the speed sphere included in the set. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of these, but that's simply because I'm no longer the target demographic. Some kid is having the time of his life with these, just like I was with Speedos 10 years ago. That's a callback for all your Chima old heads, I know you're all furries now anyways. Essentially though, you're just supposed to use the slammer to shoot the speed sphere onto this ramp and from there against the mech. Now this doesn't really work because the sphere doesn't get the height to hit the mech in the right spot, which is disappointing. Something like this could be fixed, or rather could have been fixed so easily by raising the ramp even higher, but I guess that was just too much to do. And lastly, we get one of the rings and a little lab section. In here you can put another 1 or 2 of the animals, and to the side there's also a printed control panel. I really can't say a lot about this part, which is why I'd suggest we get to the final verdict now. So this isn't a flawless set. Sonic's printing is poor, the mech itself isn't very sturdy, and the main play feature can't be properly activated by the speed sphere. But there is a lot of good in this set. Clearly a lot of passion went into making these figures. The mech is beautifully unconventional and a great display model still. LEGO Sonic is still a very young theme, which is why I don't expect all sets to be perfect yet, but we're seeing a lot of potential in a first wave set here, and they have evolved over the last year already. I am very excited for the future of the Sonic theme, but if you'd rather now see something current, I recommend you check out this video of me talking about LEGO's present pricing issues. Maybe you want to see more reviews though, in which case you can check out this playlist right here, and until next week, goodbye.